Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry urges businessmen to provide more incentives and services to the workers. Developing tourism and overcoming obstacles are the top discussions at meeting of work partners of the Omani tourism sector. And Palestinians rushed to shops and banks as a 5-hour humanitarian truce agreed by Israel and Hamas came into force. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has received a cable of thanks from the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Abdullah bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in reply to His Majesty's cable of condolences on the death of His Highness Prince Khalid bin Turki bin Abdul Aziz bin Turki Al Saud. His Excellency Dr. Ali Masoud Al-Sunaidi, Minister of Commerce and Industry, urged entrepreneurs in the second Ramadan evening in Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The minister urged them and institutions officials to provide more incentives and services, as well as suitable work environment for laborers. During the meeting, a plan was unveiled to organize a conference in September for dialogue among companies, their unions, and laborers. It discussed facilitation expected to be provided by a one-stop station and legislators for organizing investment environment, as well as magnifying benefiting from the agreements of international and regional organization, in addition to ways of dealing with disguised trade. Ahmed Abdullah Karim Al-Houthi, member of Board of Directors of OCCI, stated that a host of laws will be announced in the upcoming period, namely protecting competition, preventing monopoly, and agencies. It also reviewed development of high-level administration in the aspects of ideology, transformation, and Omanization, besides family companies, relations of companies, and establishments with the society. Omanization, marketing, promotion, investment, quality, tourist visas, as well as their transport were the most challenges discussed at the meeting of work partners in the Omani tourism sector, in which more than 100 representatives from public, academic, and private institutions took part. The meeting was presided over by His Excellency Ahmed bin Nasser Al-Mahrazi, Minister of Tourism. Discussions also touched upon solutions and procedures done to develop the tourism sector and national manpower immigration from the sector's private institutions to public institutions, in addition to qualifying the national manpower. The Ministry of Tourism currently works on the national strategy of the sector meant to upgrade tourism industry and provide a number of jobs for national manpower and raise the GDP of this sector. The Royal Court Affairs held a ceremony to honor a number of its employees winning in various Ramadan competitions, namely photography, Holy Quran recitation, poetry, and culture. The ceremony included recitation of the Holy Quran, showcasing photographs, and a poetic session. The cultural competition aimed to spread laws and regulations of Royal Court Affairs among all employees. These kinds of events motivate and encourage the participants, as well as highlight their talents in various fields. Muscat Securities Market MSM General Index today added 7.35 points, comprising a rise by 0.10% to close at 7,203 points. The trading value stood at 8.56 million Omani Riyals, comprising a rise by 26.95% compared to the last session, which stood at 6.74 million Omani Riyals. The report released by MSM pointed out that the market value rose by 0.10% to reach about 15.20 billion Riyals. Bank Muscat announced its preliminary results for the 6 months ended on June 30th, 2014. The bank posted net profit of 86.35 million Omani Riyals for the period, compared to 63.10 million Riyals reported during the same period in 2013. As per the International Financial Reporting Standards, the bank has accounted the investment in Al Salam as an associate at the adjusted fair value, and accordingly recorded an investment of 9.48 Omani Riyals. The statement added that non-interest income stood at 72.89 million Omani riyals, which was higher by 40.9% compared to 51.75 million riyals for the 6th month ended on June 30th, 2013. Still to come in our news bulletin. A Ramadan evening was held by Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Governorate of Musandam. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A Malaysian airliner was shot down over eastern Ukraine by militants today, killing all 295 people aboard, a Ukrainian Interior Minister official was quoted as saying by Interfax Ukraine news agency. The aircraft, which other sources said was a Boeing 777 flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur, came down near the city of Donetsk, stronghold of pro-Russian rebels. Anton Gurashenko said, adding that it was a hit by a ground-to-air missile. There was no further confirmation of the report, although Ukrainian officials said local residents had found wreckage. Interfax Ukraine quoted another Ukrainian official as saying the plane disappeared from radar when it was flying at 10,000 meters, a typical cruising altitude for airlines. It came down at Turez near Sheikh Teresk, some 40 kilometers from the Russian border. Israeli officials says there is agreement for a comprehensive Gaza ceasefire starting tomorrow, Friday. Meanwhile, Palestinians rushed to shops and banks today as a 5-hour humanitarian truce agreed by Israel and Hamas came into force. The break in 10 days of fighting was requested by the United Nations to allow residents of the Gaza Strip to gather supplies and repair damage to infrastructure such as water mains and power. Before the pause in fighting, an Israeli aircraft bombed a house in Rafah in southern Gaza, killing 3 people and wounded several others. Gaza health officials say at least 224 Palestinians, mostly civilians, have been killed. Taliban militants attacked the security convoy of Afghan President Hamid Karzai in eastern Paktia province of Afghanistan. Preliminary reports suggest that 4 of President Karzai's security personnel have been injured following the attack. In further escalation, militants armed with rocket-propelled grenades attacked Kabul International Airport in the Afghan capital today in one of the most audacious assaults on the facility, used by both civilians and the military in a year. The attack lasted about 4 hours, and 4 unidentified militants armed with automatic rifles and rocket-propelled grenades opened fire on the airport from the roof of a building just of its north. The airport is home to a major operational base for NATO-led forces that have been fighting Taliban and other insurgents for 12 years, and is bristling with soldiers and police, guard towers, and several lines of security checkpoints. The Philippines set to work clearing debris, reconnecting power, and rebuilding flattened houses today after a typhoon swept across the country, killing 38 people, with at least 8 missing. Typhoon Ramason, the strongest storm to hit the Philippines this year, was heading northwest towards China. The executive director of the National Disaster Agency said the storm destroyed about 7,000 houses and damaged 19,000. More than 530,000 people had taken refuge in evacuation centers. The damage to crops, mostly rice and corn from the Bicol region, southeast of Manila, and the first to be hit by the storm, put at around $15 million. Most schools remain closed in the capital and southern Luzon, the most dense populated part of the country, with about 17 million people. Manila Electric Company said a third of its 1.88 million customers were still without power. A rain-triggered landslide in southwest China's Guizhou province buried 8 people today. Days of heavy rain caused a landslide in Dakou village of Xinjiang country in the city of Biji. 2 people had been rescued and rescuers were searching for the remaining 6. Rainstorms have lashed Guizhou this week, with many parts of the province flooded. 3 people were reported missing and more than 91,000 have been relocated. Various aspects concerning the municipal council works in the wilayas of Musandam Governorate were discussed at the Ramadan evening held by the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry branch in Musandam, chaired by His Excellency Sayyid Khalifa bin al-Murdas al-Busaidi, Governor of Musandam. The evening further reviewed the council's mission, tasks and accomplishments until now. Participants presented a visual show in which they illustrated the most prominent topics that the council forwarded recommendations to concerned authorities, mainly regarding service issues touching the citizens' needs. Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers will be at 4:05 a.m. and Maghrib prayers at 7:01 p.m. Now for the general weather forecast. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and nearby mountains, with chances of intermittent drizzle, and will have cloud developments in the governorates of South Sharqiya and Wusta, and may cause some scattered rain. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of scattered rain in the Governorate of Musandam, occasionally thunderous, accompanied by dust-raising winds over the Hajar Mountains and nearby areas. Winds will be southerly to southwesterly moderate to active along the coast of the Arabian Sea, while it will be northwesterly light to moderate in the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coastal areas of Arabian Sea will be rough with a maximum wave height of 4 meters, and along the rest of the coast it will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 2 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we enter tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Minister of Commerce and Industry urges businessmen to provide more incentives and services to the workers. Developing tourism and overcoming obstacles are the top discussions at meeting of work partners of the Omani tourism sector. And Palestinians rushed to shops and banks as a 5-hour humanitarian truce agreed by Israel and Hamas came into force. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.